Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I'm your very snivelly host today, Andy Burrows. I have the cold from hell, I will warn everyone, but we are dedicated to the cause. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, as I said, and this is our Monday Night Raw review, and I'm with our AEW guy today. It's me and Dave. Dave, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Raw is Robinson yet again.
Oh, lucky Adam ain't here. He'd be rolling his eyes. But yes, you and I are here to review this past week's Monday Night Raw.
I think this is our first review show together, mate.
We've done something
Just me
together.
and you. We've done guest interviews together.
But this is our first review. And reviewing Monday Night Raw. See, WWE and AEW coming together. Combined.
Magic.
Forces, mate. That's how no forbidden doors here, mate. So Monday Night Raw for me, mate, it's probably the one I've enjoyed most in recent weeks. I don't know if that was because it was in Atlanta, Georgia, obviously Cody Rhodes, hometown. Crowds always play a big part for me in any event you go to, but more so in wrestling. Raw kicked off with a great promo from Cody. His mum was ringside. It had that kind of pay-per-view-y kind of feel to me. As soon as that happened, I was like, this is going to be a good Monday Night Raw. I don't know what you got that sense of. In recent weeks, I've kind of been like, oh, okay, this is going to be a slow burner. Or it hasn't been great. It hasn't been bad. It hasn't been great. This one, I was really like, oh, this is going to be really good.
I think you're absolutely right in terms of the crowd. We come to expect it from the WWE and Raw. You know, we're from the peak time in wrestling. We always talk about the Attitude Era. Raw goes live, pans to the crowd, signs everywhere, crowd going mental. So when that doesn't happen these days, it does have a negative effect on the show for us as viewers. I think, like, when we talk about Impact, it's a very different setup. Yeah. And they've got much less people in the crowd these days to when I used to watch, and I've had to get used to it again.
Yeah.
AEW have done some tours across Canada, and they haven't had very big houses. You know, there's been some decent amount of people in there for a wrestling show, but not what we're used to in terms of sellouts. So yeah, Raw was hot crowd this week in Atlanta, and they started off the show with Cody, and that elevated things even more.
Yeah, what did you make of the start? Obviously, Cody coming out, had his mum and his family ringside, cut a really good promo. I like the fact he wasn't in his normal suit. He was in his wrestling, kind of his wrestling gear. I know he had like a vest on, but I was really impressed with the start. That Cody, he's the hometown boy. He's always going to get the show off to a relatively hot start. But then obviously saying about Brock Lesnar, how he's going to wait in the ring for him if he turns up at 9 o'clock, if he turns up at 10 o'clock. Brock's music hits a couple of times. Cody goes down the ramp, and inevitably Brock hitting him with a chair comes out. I thought that was, whoever wrote that spot was really good. I think, because it's Cody's hometown, so Brock was always going to get so much heat, which is perfect. It's what you want going into SummerSlam. SummerSlam's 2 weeks away. What did you make of the whole Brock thing? Obviously, he come out, he hit him with a few F5s outside the ring. He laid the chair shots into him, by the way. He didn't hold back with any of them.
Yeah, they were pretty stiff.
They were pretty, this is Brock Lesnar. He's not gonna hold anything back. No. I thought it was such a solid, like you say, it set the tone for the rest of the show, and it's official now. We're getting Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. 2 weeks time, SummerSlam. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I think Cody probably had a big part in putting this all together, because obviously being his hometown as well, you had that emotional investment. You had his mom there at ringside, and rather have Brock Lesnar come out and kind of overpower him, beat him up, and maybe look Cody a bit weak, it was a clever little way for Brock to get the upper hand. Heel tactics with the chair, so you kind of sympathize for Cody because he's the good guy, right? And he's fighting, just with his fists. Brock's turned the tables with a chair, and I think it was a really, really effective opening to the show. And obviously another teaser towards the match at SummerSlam. So it's definitely looking forward to that fight more now after that segment than I was before.
Would there be any stipulations you think put in between now and SummerSlam, or would it be a straight one-on-one match? Because people have been, I think us guys have mentioned dog collar matches, Falls Count Anywhere, street fights. Is this just going to be semi-co-main event SummerSlam, one-on-one, or between what they've got next week's got Monday Night Raw next week, and I think they've got that's it, and then it's the following August the 6th, isn't it? So then the following Saturday, you've got SummerSlam. Do you think we see something that there's a stipulation thrown in? Do you just think this is a one-on-one?
It wouldn't surprise me if Cody gets a level of revenge and it becomes a street fight, or even if Brock's not there now until SummerSlam, I'm not sure his schedule. Cody to kind of cut a promo and basically set up a street fight or some kind of no hold barred, or maybe even a dog collar. But I don't know how they get to that. I suppose. I don't know. Cody's a clever, intelligent wrestler. And,
they could kind of have Cody in the ring. You wanted to come out and hit me with a chair. You wanted to do this, this, and this. Well, let's make this no rules. Let's make street fight, or falls count anywhere, or exactly no DQ. Just something
like that. Given the fact that Brock introduced the chair, would make me think that they're going more street fight route than dog collar or something like specific. So I think no odds barred street fight, falls count anywhere, something along that lines.
Question I wanted to ask you, as I was going to ask it last time I saw you. How do you think WWE have done in recent times with Cody? Obviously, you guys talk about AEW a lot and hitting the turnbuckle. I know you and Parker do like Collision and Adam, and we all talk about wrestling. How do you think Cody's transitioned back to the WWE, especially post WrestleMania? And the whole Roman Reigns thing is he didn't get the title, but now he's on this. We've kind of said this hard time storyline where I'm guessing they're going to elevate him towards next year's WrestleMania. But there's lots of zigzags and crossroads, no pun intended, that he's got to thanks, mate. That he's got to go through to get there. What do you make of the Cody that we see in the WWE compared to the Cody that we saw in AEW?
So I think they've done a phenomenal job with him, and I was hugely disappointed when he left AEW. I can admit that. I wasn't one of the fans that was booing Cody when you shouldn't have been, or he flirted with the heelish stuff at times.
If it wasn't for him, there wouldn't really been an AEW, really.
I'm massively grateful for Cody for kind of everything they did in terms of setting it up and all in, because it gives me so much entertainment and enjoyment every week. All in at Wembley is going to be sensational. I can't wait to be standing in that arena surrounded by 70,000 like-minded wrestling fans that love the product as much as I do. Massively grateful to Cody, and I think they've done a great job in the WWE. And if they weren't going to put the title on him, I think this is the best job they could have done, really. I'm so invested in the Bloodline storyline still. I did want Roman to win at WrestleMania.
Yeah, me too.
For Roman to win and Cody to still be in this situation where he feels like such a star and one of the top babyface, probably alongside Seth Rollins, I don't think they put a foot wrong, really. I mean, people argue that he should have won the belt at Mania, but if they culminate the story in Cody ending his story at next year's Mania, which kind of ends or it redirects the Bloodline story somewhere else, then great. As far as I'm concerned, we'll have another 6 months, 7 months of fantastic television, hopefully, to get to that point.
Yeah, like you've got the Survivor Series, you've got the Rumble, we've got some big events coming up. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Cody post now. Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, see, I think they have got to kind of finish the story. So he obviously won the Rumble this year. It seems it seems unlikely, that he'd do that, just win the Rumble again. So
Elimination Chamber, you know what I mean? They could have to win that to get into the Mania. I think that, imagine Cody in an Elimination Chamber match. I think actually in the match itself, I think obviously last year he fought. Was it Seth? No, it wasn't the Elimination Chamber. When did he do his pec? Hell in a Cell, sorry.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine Cody in the Elimination Chamber match itself, the match that they could have in that Elimination Chamber, I think could be incredible. He could win that. Again, that gets him into the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. You'll know better than me. Like with the Elimination Chamber, is there normally just a men's and a women's now? Is it Raw or SmackDown?
No, they have they've mixed it. They've mixed it in the past. They've done it in the past. They've done it like the winner can get into the main event of WrestleMania.
I was just thinking, because we got a world champion as well now, how that would factor into Elimination Chamber. But when you've got guys like Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, and Cody at the helm involved with a story, I'm sure it would be great however we get there. So
100%.
To answer your question, I think Cody has definitely elevated himself. And unfortunately, for me to say he's probably well, he is a bigger star now. He's the biggest star that he's ever been in wrestling, you know, in his career. That includes his run in AEW, so can't fault him, really.
That must have been hard for you to say.
Hard to say, hard to watch, hard to accept. Because some of the matches Cody had in AEW were sensational.
Some great matches.
I loved the match with Sammy Guevara. Well, I could list so many matches.
I don't think he can have a bad match, if I'm honest. I think he's kind of on the Bret Hart ilk. You've got Cody Rhodes has a bad match, and you know something's gone drastically wrong. Because I love I love him. I think he's brilliant, mate.
The match with Dustin, brother against brother. That was just
incredible.
Phenomenal storytelling as well in that.
And his brother tweeted out quite a lot on Monday night. I noticed I went on there Tuesday, and his brother tweeted out saying like how proud he was and how well he done on Raw. And it's very rare that you kind of get an AEW guy, I know kayfabe isn't really a thing anymore, but he was actively tweeting about his brother who's on the opposition, kind of. But I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Talking of something that I thought was good, I'm glad you're sitting down, because if Adam was here, he'd probably fall down. Matt Riddle had a good match on Raw.
He did, yeah.
You thought you couldn't say that. It pains you to say that Cody's better in WWE. Than this is like breaking my heart now. I thought the Riddle and Gunther match on Raw, some of them chops were WrestleMania-esque. Drew McIntyre, Gunther. My God. At one point, because I have to catch up on Raw while I'm out on the road. So I'm watching it. I'm sitting in my lorry, and I was just like, oh my God. My mate's like, you're right. I'm like, you wouldn't understand. You're not a wrestling fan. But some of them, that match I thought was put together incredible. And it comes back to what I said. Raw started off so well, and then they give us Gunther versus Matt Riddle. And are they kind of going towards splitting up Imperium? It's like they've kind of teased it a little bit now. Is that Gunther maybe dropping the title to Sheamus, I'm guessing, at SummerSlam, and then that's him off to the races with Seth Rollins? Or do they somehow segue him to the Bloodline storyline? I don't think that happens. I think it's going to either segue to Seth Rollins or Finn Balor. Whoever wins the title, Damian Priest could cash in. But I think if Gunther does drop it, I think Imperium go their separate ways, and Gunther just... Adam always says, put a rocket on him. See you later.
Yeah, see, I don't think they need to. I think the way they present Gunther and the way they've got Imperium, his backup guys, I don't think they need to mess with that necessarily to push Gunther onto the next level, unless he was going to be turning babyface, which I would not expect at all.
No,
he's too good at what he does at the minute, and it's not the right time by any stretch of the imagination to do that. So I know they've teased it. But I hope they kind of keep this as they were. I thought for a time they might be getting rid of the one guy. They can keep Ludwig Kaiser with him and get rid of Giovanni Vinci. Yeah. But they were banned from ringside, weren't they?
Yeah, they put on a hell of a mate. I never thought I'd say this. Matt Riddle put on a hell of a match. Took a beating as well. Them chops, mate.
The reason I enjoyed Raw so much this week was so much more time was given to the performers, and the in-ring stuff was so good. You look across the card, there was some real good action and good promos as well. Obviously, we've talked about Cody at the start and that emotional promo in front of his mom. It really ticked all the boxes for me this week, Raw.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I was so pleased to see Monday Night Raw back.
Yeah,
well, I think it should be, because it's easy for me to say. It's a show I grew up with. It was the only show we had back in the day. This is before SmackDown, before AEW, before Impact, before Ring of Honor, before anything. We only had Monday Night Raw. This will always be the show for me. I've said many times that I think SmackDown at the minute is probably the more popular show and is putting on a better product. But for me, Monday Night Raw will always be number one.
Yeah, and I think last week, I know you thought it wasn't too bad last week, and we were critical.
It was okay,
Even the hearing from backstage, things went awry in the main event, and there was issues. There was a bit of not a scuffle, a disagreement, I think, backstage. And that's probably just born out of frustration, because they know how good they are, and if they didn't quite put on a match that was up to their own expectations, then that's frustrating for them as top level athletes. But the wrestlers they've got there that showcased this week. And glad we saw more of Chad Gable wrestling this week. It shouldn't really be possible for him to put on a bad show, as long as they get the right mix of wrestling and sports entertainment.
Yeah, they've set the bar now this week. I'm expecting, that like you said at the start, that needs to be Raw every single week. Red hot crowd signs everywhere. We were spoiled. Austin, Rock, Foley, Taylor, Triple H, Jesus, Mankind, everything like that. We
are
spoiled.
like the old men, the granddad, during the war granddad, like
we
during
are
the Attitude Era.
During the Attitude Era, if you say during the Attitude Era once more, but they then had a little backstage segment with Raquel Rodriguez getting injured on her knee. You can kind of see why they've done it to head into the tag team title match, and inevitably we got Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville are now new women's tag team champions, defeating Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I thought this was a really good match. I agreed with switching the titles. I think that, I think Chelsea and Sonya Deville just give, I don't know, there's something about them I like.
They're entertaining.
They're entertaining. The match itself, it gets poo-pooed a lot, some of the women's wrestling. I know me and Adam haven't been very high on it for months now, AEW and WWE. For me, though, this match kept me, I didn't have to forward any of it. I was invested in it. They hit the high spots, were really good. And we got new tag team champions. Right call in your opinion, mate?
Absolutely. They told a great story, which started off, as you say, backstage with the attack.
Rhea Ripley,
which sets up a match for me that I've wanted for the last few weeks and one they've teased in terms of Raquel Rodriguez up against Rhea Ripley. And it looks like we might be getting Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan as well. But there's a couple of different ways they can go there, a few things they can do with it. And I think ultimately Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are better off in the singles programs in that type of situation than holding the belts. They seemed a bit of an odd couple for me, which I suppose was the idea. But I think Sonya and Chelsea, they look like a team. Even the gear that they wear, and there's not been too many. For me, watching a lot of WWE women's wrestling over the past few years, it seems to be a lot of thrown together teams. But Chelsea and Sonya have obviously gone on a run, and they are a proper established tag team there that are doing pretty well. So I'd rather that and Liv and Raquel go into some singles matches now. I think it's time. Yeah,
Liv really, her in-ring work really impresses me. So the speed that she operates, the big moves that she hits. Some of I don't mean this horribly. Some of the women's wrestling matches, they kind of plod and they're waiting for that. And Liv Morgan's just like bam, 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 bam. You're like, wow, they're all in sync here. It's really good.
She makes it look very smooth and not kind of choreographed. She just does it. He looks very natural and very smooth when she's going move to move. Or I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, no, mate, 100%. We now move on to what I think was match of the night, Dave. I don't know about you, mate. I was the Viking Raiders and Alpha Academy in a Viking rules match. This tore that. If you put this on a pay-per-view, I wouldn't. You wouldn't be surprised. It tore the house down. The crowd doing for it. The wrestlers, you could tell everyone just loved being a part of that match. The Viking Raiders coming up with the win, but every spot, every moment of that, there was a homage to the Dudleys again. I absolutely popped my ass off for that. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
What did you make of it, mate? Again, this is the third match in a row now on Raw, and I thought it was incredible. Really, match of the night for me, and that's saying something because the main event was really good.
Yeah, so me and Adam, we've talked about like the Gable being trapped in the comedy stuff and that, wanting to just see him wrestle. So when the camera showed that there was this Viking longboat set up, and I thought, oh no. But I was massively pleasantly surprised. I thought it was really good. I thought the props were really good. I thought, I thought this is the type of match that could not catch on and they're having every week, but it could.
Yeah, it wasn't an unusual WWE gimmick match, was it?
Yeah, that's it. And I thought it was just going to be stupid, but it
was brutal.
Yeah, all wrestling is stupid to a degree.
That's why we love it.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought this was really good match. I loved at the ending how they were posing on the end of the ship as well. I thought they obviously. What I'm saying is they obviously thought about this a lot, and that for me was the whole show. It seemed a very well thought out, well put together, well paced show. Everybody got their shit in, basically.
Yeah.
And I've got no complaints about this. I've got to mention the spot when Gable hits that German suplex.
Oh my God. And he done it in kind of slow motion as well, didn't he?
Yeah. But he hit the moonsault.
Yeah.
And then he goes
And
straight
rolled
into
it.
Oh,
yeah.
mate. That was just perfection.
That dude,
Absolute
he is
perfection.
Kurt Angle 2.0.
Yeah.
He's watching a young Kurt Angle when he first come into WWE.
Man, I
Chad
had
Gable
goosebumps
is
just
him.
talking about it. Just
Mate,
like,
honestly,
that spot was...
I hope that guy gets propelled. I'd like to see him maybe have an IC run at some stage or do something with him, you know, and like you say, get away from the comedy, because when you actually let him, I'm not going to say you can have them kind of like brutal matches every week, because, you know, we know how that ends. You know, we look at Mick Foley and stuff like that. You know, we are old men again. That was the Attitude Era. They put him in brutal match. But we said that about Darby Allin when we watch AEW.
Yeah.
You can't do that every single week. But when they do things like they did on Monday Night Raw, and honestly, I'd just pay money just to watch him wrestle. I hope they do. I hope the direction for him isn't, I hope it doesn't just stay here. I hope they send him. And,
the problem I've got is he's so good at it. It is entertaining stuff. I didn't particularly like the stuff last week with the jacket. I thought that was a bit silly. But the shoosh and the thank you and all of that, you know, it is entertaining. So that must be a dilemma that they have, really. They've got some
balance now in the WWE, I think. They've got to go, because they do have a lot of young fans. Like, the problem is, we seem to forget. We started watching wrestling when we were 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
I had Hulk Hogan, and you know, I was one of the kids. I was ripping my shirt, and I was telling my mum that I wanted to take my vitamins and say my prayers, and I don't know, all this. And you kind of, as adults now, when we sit here reviewing wrestling and talking about it, we kind of forget that there is a younger audience, and they are impressionable. We have to kind of sometimes draw it back. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were a lot of kids that grew up in the Attitude Era. We were lucky when we hit our teens. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We were watching the Attitude Era, but we have to kind of remember 1985, 86, 87, Hogan, Warrior, Jake the Snake, all them guys. I was watching them, and you know, WWE's got to find that balance, and I think they're doing it a lot better now.
They clearly, you know, target a younger audience at times, which is totally understandable, because if you target the kids, then you're going to get the adults taking them to those shows and spending the money and the incel. Reinvesting if they were former fans, you know, they watched it when we watched it. Like, we never stopped. A lot of people stopped, but we never stopped.
We're here 40 years later doing a podcast.
We're lifers. But I would love, I mean, I suppose there's kids running around playgrounds doing the thank you and the shoes. So I get what you're saying. I hope, like, long term though.
I saw a kid in Tesco's 2 weeks ago tell his dad to acknowledge him.
Did he?
I just like, I looked at him like, the dad kind of looked at me really annoyed. I was like, I'm really proud of your kid.
Trying to give him a little fist bump.
Yeah, I wanted to go. He was only about 8. I wanted to give him a little acknowledge. I wanted to do that to him, but you know, can't do that to someone else's kid. But
with Chad, I hope at some point he does kind of turn on Otis and as a serious run and as a serious, like, because we want to see him in some top level matches, 1-on-1 with Rollins, 1-on-1 with Finn Balor. These are the type of matches that we want to see him in at the top of the card. But for now, I can't complain about what he was involved with this week, as you say, match of the night, possibly. Yeah,
in my opinion. Shayna Baszler then squashed Nikki Cross in 3 seconds, something like that.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Why do they do this? Why don't they just use a local talent? Because that just shits on it. I've got no problem with the quick squash match.
Because they used to use a lot of local back in the day. That's how they got to these segments. It was, hi, coming out from this in London, from London, England. You've got so and so and so. They could have done that last night. Atlanta, Georgia's, whoever it is.
Yeah, I don't see the need to crap on Nikki Cross, and that frustrates me, because I got totally understand making Shayna Baszler look strong and going into this one-on-one match with Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam. That's the story, right? And not Nikki Cross. But for me, it's needless. And I know Nikki gets to appear on Raw, but did she really? You know?
Yeah. I mean, are you excited for Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey?
I think I'm definitely interested in seeing the one-on-one match. Yeah, I'm assuming that Ronda's being written out of TV, so
she's going back to UFC, isn't she? Apparently,
yeah.
She signed a deal with UFC. I mean, I say signed a deal with UFC. You're technically still with WWE because they're owned by the same people now. So everyone forgets this. You know what I mean? This could be the first time that we see someone in the UFC still kind of active on the WWE roster. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I know she wants. I think she's pretty much done with wrestling, but.
Well, I'm not massively brushed up on my UFC, but there was the rumor about the Holly Holm match and whether that could happen.
She lost at the weekend, didn't she?
Is he? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think Holly
sure.
lost. I think it's Holly.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest UFC
Yeah,
fan. I watch Conor McGregor, and that's about
but
it. And
it appears they're going off in that direction. The reason why they've had to force it so quick is obviously they had the tag belts a few weeks ago,
yeah,
and it
and
seemed
obviously Money
like
in the Bank, and
yeah, the turn was a little bit quick and it was a bit out of
that
nowhere.
shocked the shit out of me. Obviously, I
Yeah,
was sitting
yeah.
there in the arena, and everyone was. It was kind of like a delayed reaction. It was like, oh
What the?
shit, yeah, what the
Yeah, yeah.
fuck? Because it happened so quick. I think I was watching something was going on in the corner of the ring, so I was focused on that. Then out of the corner of my eye, I'm hearing like chanting it, and I've literally swiveled my head a little bit, and she's Shayna, she's doing Rousey, and I'm like, oh fucking hell, that was
Yeah,
unexpected. Don't get it got a good pop and
it
everything like
did,
that,
yeah.
but it'll be interesting to see where they go at SummerSlam. I think it'll be
Oh,
I'm hoping they
oh,
kind of turn it into. I reckon it could turn the first ever time you might see this in the whole WWE UFC thing. I'm not saying it's going to be a UFC fight, but you have to both remember they're both MMA fighters.
yeah,
That's the kind of route they could go down for this match.
absolutely. Yeah, some kind of cage fight or something,
Yeah,
you know,
it could
octagon or.
be the first time that you see the
Mhm.
WWE and UFC kind of mix it up a bit because they are both MMA superstars, really. They're both amazing at what they do on the
Yeah,
UFC side and MMA. This could be the first time that they go, all right, then this merger, let's test the waters. And like in Twitter will go on fire and the wrestling world will be like, I can't do this. And, you know, but
yeah.
I'd give it a go. I'd give it a watch. Bloody hell, I watched a Punjabi prison match all these years ago, so it can't be fucking worse than that, can it?
Exactly. Well, I mean, Shayna herself, obviously, she was an absolute killer in NXT,
Yeah.
and that quite it's been a bit hit and miss on the main roster. But I'll tell you what, she can talk on the microphone. She cuts a
She's
really
better
good
than Rousey on the
promo.
microphone for
Yeah, she's
fucking.
very, very comfortable. No stuttering or anything like that. She seems totally confident and happy hitting her lines. So yeah, I've been really impressed with her mic work.
Yeah. Becky Lynch is going to get a match with Trish Stratus if she defeats Zoe Stark next week on Raw. What did you make of the whole Becky Lynch segment? I thought it was quite good the way they put it together. She was on Miz TV, and then obviously Trish and Zoe came out, and it was the whole, you know, we know where it's heading. It's heading to SummerSlam. It's heading to Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus at SummerSlam. I think they kind of dropped the ball with Becky Lynch in the last few months. I think they're kind of getting back on that trajectory where she needs to be. Like me and Adam said months and months and months ago. I love the whole man gimmick, the very Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of vibes. A bit like LA Knight's getting now.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch had that when this whole man run started.
Yeah.
I mean, how impressed are you going to be if Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus get it on at SummerSlam?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe there's a stipulation, Trish's career on the line or something in that realm. This was fine. It's kind of predictable. But until they went to attack her, it just seems there was a misstep there or a slight delay. Something went slightly
something
wrong.
went slightly wrong.
Yeah, just a timing issue with something. But overall, yeah, it's difficult for them to keep that spark with Becky Lynch.
Because she got injured at the wrong time as well, and she was on
Yeah.
TV. It's so unfortunate 'cause she was on such a run,
Yeah.
and then obviously she got a broken nose on Raw, and you know, as good as a shot as that made with her with a bloody nose leading into Survivor Series, she wasn't at Survivor Series that year. Something's been missing with her recently. I don't know if that's a creative, whether it's her. You know, she's got a young family now. She's married, and etc.
Well, she did the whole big time Bex thing, didn't she?
No, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, she did. She's had bits with Rollins at times as well.
Yeah.
That have teamed up. So yeah, it hasn't caught. Yeah, well, she absolutely caught fire when, as you say, when she started with the man gimmick. She's a great performer and great talent to have on. But yeah, there's something missing there at the minute. I think. I don't know. Maybe a heel turn. But not big time Bex, you know, more
leave her as the man,
kind of
but
heel.
yeah, leave her. I mean, when Austin turned heel, they left him as Stone Cold Steve Austin, who just flipped his character and turned into an arsehole. But that didn't work. He still was over with the fans. Talking to someone that's kind of, we mention it all the time, lost in the mix, not sure what's going on. Shinsuke Nakamura, Bronson Reed had a fairly decent-ish match on Raw, obviously with Ciampa intervening, and that again. We kind of know where this is going. I'm not sure where they're going to. Could it be a three-way at SummerSlam with Shinsuke involved? Obviously, he had his backstage skit with Byron Saxton after saying that, you know, he's sick and tired of people getting in his way.
Yeah.
What do you make? Bronson Reed was great in NXT. Seems to have come up to the main roster and got a little push, got pulled back down. Got a little push, got pulled back down. And I'm like, are they elevating this guy? Are they not elevating this guy? Because he's one of them. For a big guy, he can fly. His in-ring work is incredible. What do you make of the whole dynamic of what's going on with him right now, and what you saw on Raw?
It wouldn't surprise me if we get a Miz and a Bronson Reed tag match against Ciampa and Nakamura at some point.
SummerSlam, maybe Raw.
Yeah. I'm glad Nakamura didn't lose. That first and foremost. Didn't get pinned.
Yeah.
So I was relieved from that point because he just seems to lose a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like we were saying about Nikki Cross, it doesn't help anybody, and they're having to fight back from those losses every time. The more they lose, so yeah, I was glad in that respect, and I'm glad that he's featured as well, and he seems to be in some kind of storyline.
Yeah,
I think the time has gone for him, perhaps when he could have been at the top champion there. And I think, unfortunately, it's his work on the microphone, the reason that probably that didn't happen. Because in the ring, he can put on a great match with anybody. You know, we saw it against AJ Styles, some of the matches they've had. But yeah, to keep him at the top of the card, something's missing, and that's his work on the microphone, unfortunately. But great talent, and I'm glad he's still part of Raw, and I'm glad that he's on frequently as well.
Yeah, no. We moved to the main event, mate. If it wasn't for the Viking Raiders match, this would have been match of the night for me. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeating the Judgment Day to retain the WWE Tag Team titles. This match had everything, mate. The Judgment Day are growing on me. I wasn't quite sure at first. And obviously, we can maybe briefly mention what happened with Dominik on NXT. He's now champion. What are you thinking with the Judgment Day? Are they still leaning towards Damian Priest and Finn with a cash in? I think that's too obvious for Finn to win at SummerSlam, Damian to cash in on Finn, Judgment Day implode. I think that's too obvious. I think WWE have not gone down that maybe 10 years ago, because it would have been a quick bam, bam, bam storyline told. Yeah. I think this is I think the way they wrestling is nowadays, slow burn, massive payoff. That's how I think they're going. But the main event on Raw, really good, mate. The way they finished it, everyone got their spots in. Yeah. Sami and KO are still looking as strong as ever. They're still rolling. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with them moving forward, losing the tag team titles. Are they thinking of it's the way they obviously Dominik's now got a title from NXT. We've got Rhea Ripley. We could have Finn. Are we kind of thinking Bloodline 2.0 from 2 years ago, and they've got absolutely every title just on Raw?
Yeah, because first Sami lost last week, so I was glad they picked up the win. I'm glad Sami picked up the pin and kind of cancelled that one out. I look at stuff like that, and I think a lot of wrestling fans do. So I was happy with that. I was happy with the result of the match. And then Dominik, we knew he ended up winning the title on NXT, so it hasn't done him any harm. There has to be winners and losers, but sometimes it's just the way it's done. But to answer your question in regards to Bloodline 2.0, I think Finn will end up winning the title from Seth, but I don't think Damian will turn on him at SummerSlam, but I think he will turn on him at some point.
I think they'll tease it at SummerSlam.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And then obviously after SummerSlam, you've got, I think they go to Saudi Arabia again. I think there's a couple more. And then the next quote unquote big one will be Survivor Series, which is kind of near the back end of the autumn, heading into the winter. But the Judgment Day are really growing on me. I like where they're going. I like the fact that they're playing on the fact that Dominik Mysterio is hated so much. Yeah. They definitely didn't pump any crowd noise into his promo on Raw this week. That was booed out the building. I like the fact that they're playing. I like the fact that they've given him a title. Just the fact that so many people are going to bitch and moan about it. And I love it because it's got what you want. It's got people talking about your product. It's got people, and everyone's like, well, he's, a lot of people saying, well, when Solo Sikoa had it, he had to relinquish that title and he had to come up to the main roster. But I think them days are gone now. I think people are going between NXT and Raw and SmackDown. And
there's been a lot of it, hasn't there? Like this year. So yeah,
Baron Corbin's been on there. It's been...
Judgment Day were on last week, weren't they?
They were on last night.
So, they're on last, but they were on last week as well. So it's not just come out of nowhere. There has been story and thought behind it. He couldn't go for the Intercontinental title, and the US title's on SmackDown, so it was the only one he could do really.
Realistically,
he's got that. Damian's got the briefcase. Finn, number one contender. Pretty sure he's going to face Seth at SummerSlam. It's pretty much a done deal. And Rhea's got the top women's title. So, yeah, a formidable faction. I don't think they're going to implode or break up anytime soon. But one day we're ultimately going to get to Finn Balor against Damian Priest.
Yeah, I think you could be, if Finn's champion, if he's champion, come Survivor Series, you could have the whole Judgment Day as a team versus another. And at the end of that match, Finn somehow, they get the win, but he's sparked out. Damian could cash in the briefcase then. And that's how Survivor Series goes off the air. And then you're leading into the Rumble. And you're off to the races again. You're on WrestleMania season. It's just me being...
Yeah, I think Damian at the minute, although there's so many fans of his work and we love watching him perform, his character doesn't really match with much he's not sympathetic to the crowd. So I think we have to go through a little bit of a journey with that so that everybody is pushing and he's a bit more of a fan favorite. Yeah,
no, definitely, mate, definitely. But I was glad to see Raw back to where it should be. If I had to give this a rating out of 10, 8.5.
Yeah, I'll get 8 for me.
Yeah,
only because I've seen so many brilliant Raws over the years and just kind of pitching it where a 10 out of 10 Raw was. I think 8 to 8.5 is about right.
Yeah, no, mate, I was really impressed with Raw. I'm hoping, like I think I tweeted out from the Hitting the Turnbuckle Twitter earlier. So far, so good for wrestling fans this week. We've had Raw, great. NXT, really good. We've got me and you sit here recording this a few hours before AEW Blood and Guts in Boston tonight. I've got a funny feeling that's going to be amazing. It can't be any worse than Dynamite was last week. I think Blood and Gut. I've been to the Boston Arena many times. If there is one of the hottest crowds in wrestling, it's there.
Yeah,
incredible, mate. So you've got Dynamite. We've still got Rampage. We've got Collision. We've got SmackDown. We've got Impact. It's just great week to be a wrestling fan, mate. But Dave, I've enjoyed doing his first review show with you, mate. I mean, it's this Adam guy. We were.
Do we need him? Yeah, we need him.
Well, we need him. Yeah, we need him. No, just sorry, Adam. No, yeah, apparently, yeah. I'm being produced in ways. I'm in Vince McMahon. I've got Adam in this year. But no, we definitely need it. But Dave, it's been great, mate. We'll do this all again later this week. Like I always say, go and check us out on Twitter. You can find us at HTT Buckle. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We've got Buckle Up coming this week. We just dropped a great interview that myself and Adam did with Smashing Mike from Ignite Wrestling Pro. We just interviewed Nick Aldis yesterday. That's up on our YouTube channel. Like I say, we've got some great ones coming up. We've got Jake the Snake Roberts. We've got Diamond Dallas Page. A few others lined up that we can't quite mention yet, but trust me, we've got some great content coming up. Thanks everyone for the support. I mean, the Twitter followers and the YouTube followers have just gone, woo, they're flowing in the last week to 10 days, Dave. So thanks everyone for their support, mate.
Yeah, it's really to have this level of success so quickly and so many wrestling fans checking us out and watching what we do. It's so incredible. I have to pinch myself when I'm sat there talking to guys like Nick Aldis and
mate, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, Buff Bagwell a few weeks ago, one of the guys at the heart of the NWO in that storyline that really got me invested in wrestling. So to be able to kind of sit down with your heroes to a degree and talk about that period of time is just unbelievable for me to be part of the show. And yeah, grateful to you and Adam for having me, and grateful for all our supporters for subscribing to the YouTube and retweeting everything.
Yeah, no, we big thing. Obviously, I can't say it enough. Thanks so much for everyone that gives us the support. If you are at Buckle Up this Sunday, come say hi to myself, Dave, and Adam. We're all going to be at Buckle Up. It'd be great to meet you. I know we're handing out loads of free merchandise. We've got some t-shirts coming out. Going to be a great event. But this has been another great episode of the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I've been your host, Andy Burrows, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. Dave Robinson. Till next time, everybody, buckle down. Stay safe.